Auka! Welcome back to Focus on You with Phil and Oscar, where you can hear the call of the wild all on the internet.
Wild what?
The Wild West.
Oh,
Oh, no, well, we're in the East, so. Okay, we'll take it. Auka! Oscar, okay? I don't hear anything about my new sound, okay? I don't hear
exactly.
anything. Okay, all right. There
Mom
you go.
said if you don't have something nice to say,
There you go. Exactly. Don't say it. Just keep it all to yourself. All right. This is Focus on You with Phil and Oscar. And we have, of course, one of our highest and the best PNN can offer, Miss Whitney Kobrin. She's going to be on with us today. And she is the dating and relationship expert that we all want to hear from because she's got so much arsenal. She's like packed like commando when it comes to dating and relationships. So stay tuned, call all your single friends, tell them to jump on and tune in for our fabulous program that we have on today. And, very excited about that. What you got to say, Oscar? You got anything on that?
I thought you were going to play all the single ladies in the background
Oh,
while you were
you know
saying.
what? You know what? Wait. Ah,
They didn't take that toy away from you yet.
they did not. So, yeah, very exciting stuff. You just love that, don't you?
Oh, you had like a paper cut on my eyeball. Yeah, it's just wonderful.
A paper cut of my eyeball. Oh, well, we all can't be winners, man. We all just can't be winners. But again, before we go into the program, of course, we have the infamous Mr. Oscar Capel, and he's going to talk a little bit about what he does with Legal Shield and the OUR Rescue uh, group that they support. Oscar, I'm turning it over to you.
Thanks so much. Yes, and as Phil said, I am an independent associate with Legal Shield and ID Shield. We protect individuals, families, and businesses. And this morning, if you were on the show this morning, you would have heard that I said, "When's the last time you actually used a lawyer?" And you'd be surprised how many times we use lawyers. Every time we hit that "I agree" button on an app, some lawyer wrote that, and who knows what's in there and what you're agreeing to. I don't agree to anything until I print these things out, send it to my law firm. They review it without an extra charge. Let me know what is in that contract, what I should be careful with, and a lot of things that I would have hit I agreed after I had that looked at. I just deleted the app completely. Didn't even download it completely. So make sure you know what you're signing. There was a Black Mirror episode of that they agreed to something, and their life fell apart just because they had agreed to it in like page 147 of the 400 pages that they agreed to. So always be careful what you're signing your name to, what you're agreeing to. Make sure that a qualified law firm is looking over all of your information to make sure you're safe. That's the best advice I can give with that. Um, Other things that we do with the legal service, since we have a full service legal team, is wills. How many of you have updated wills? I mean, you got married, you got a will done. Now you have grandchildren. Are they in the will? Are you doing the update? Have you not started a will because you don't know where to go, who to talk to, or how much it's going to cost? The will is included in our subscription to the Legal Shield service. So that's the one thing I'm going to talk about today on the legal part. On identity theft, you guys know that I post on LinkedIn almost every day of data breaches and scams that are going on. The latest scam is it's a PayPal scam, and two people have already talked to me that they almost fell for it. They they get a call from supposedly PayPal that somebody was using their account and they realized it, so they want to give the money back and give us your bank details to get that money back to you, and you know what happens after that. So, be careful with these scams. Anybody that's calling to give you money back, it makes no sense. So that's very, very important to make sure you have your family protected legally and have any kind of identity theft restored. Next time we will talk about um, reputation defender on our next show and on the next focus on you. But also, what as Phil mentioned, what we do is we donate to OUR Rescue. Let me see if I can share my screen. It's there. No, I don't know. I don't know how to share the screen on this platform, as usual. Um, in any case, what we do is we donate money to Operation Underground Railroad to make sure that, thank you, Phil, to make sure that we try to get rid of trafficking in the US and around the world. Since the borders are wide open and there are wars going on all around the world, that is where trafficking really, really takes over. So be aware of what's going on. There's a movie. We're actually going to be featuring it pretty soon in New York at an event called "It's Happening Right Here," and the movie focuses on how kids are trafficked here in the U.S. and more importantly, how they're groomed and how people get to them in the U.S. And it's not a van picking up the kid; it is your kids being online and talking to someone else who's also their age, and there's like thousands of predators in every chat room, in every game. In every game the kids are playing in the chat rooms, that's where they hang out, that's where they get their victims. So find out how to protect yourself and your family and your kids, and make sure you're talking to your kids about this and they don't fall into that trap. Thanks, Phil, for that spot. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Capel, because that is such compelling information. Again, if you want to know more about, getting Legal Shield or uh, ID Shield, this is your guy right here, right here, that guy.
Give me a
He's
give me
got
a quick
all the
call at,
information there.
yeah, it's 646-578-7097. Shoot me a text, an email, info@oscarcapel.com. Either way, I'll get you information.
And then this is no matter what state you're in.
Yep, we're in 50 states and
The
in Canada.
States of America, or maybe Canada. I think you're in Canada too, right? They're in Canada.
We're in Canada too, correct.
Yeah. So you need this no matter where you go, and I appreciate the support that you guys give to OUR Rescue, because that's just uh, unlimitlessly priceless. All right, so next we have none other than the infamous, world famous Miss Whitney Kobrin coming at you. Whitney,
There she is.
hey, how you doing, Whitney?
Really good. How are you?
All right,
Very.
did you change your background again? Are you in a different room or
No, she's in
No,
the same.
same room?
same room.
Did you just like move all the furniture around?
Yeah, I moved my desk up here because I was doing a tarot reading for someone and I needed a flat surface. So,
I'm like, wait a minute.
Thank you for coming on, Whitney. Really appreciate you
yeah.
taking the time to come on to focus on you again. For those who don't know about you, can you give just a little snippet about yourself?
Yes. So, I struggled in relationships pretty badly for many years. And through a lot of effort, reading a lot of books, doing different programs, coaching, therapy, I was able to change my patterns. And actually, I'm in the healthiest, happiest relationship I've ever been in. And that's what I want to share with people. So I have combined my background in just what I learned and experienced, plus having been a matchmaker and seeing how to find people and how to date properly, as well as the feminine embodiment training. I use all of that to help women in their love life. So, whether they're trying to get out and use online dating and are feeling lost and frustrated, I can help with that. if they are not ready to date and just really need to find themselves and heal from whatever past hurt so that they don't repeat the same patterns. I love working with women in just their self-love and getting them to the point where they're ready to begin dating and be in a relationship. And I also love helping people who are going through a breakup or a separation or a divorce. It's all kind of the same area of working on your self-love, your skill set, communication, and just some energetic things that are a little hard to describe, but when it really comes down to it, you could learn all the information and read all the books, but it really, you have to put it into practice. And so that's what I really enjoy as a coach, is guiding people through the practices, the energetic practices, to help them really relax and get comfortable in their own skin and have the right kind of vibe to attract the people that they want to do. So I do individual coaching, group programs, a lot of different things that are all related to helping you love your love life.
One of the things you talked about this morning that you know hit me was you have a 12-week program and you don't talk about dating until week number 9. So it looks like there's a lot of prep, a lot of self-healing going on to make sure that you're ready to date, because I guess there's a lot of people that are coming through a divorce or a separation or some sort of separation from their partner, and now there's baggage. It's like we don't want to go through that again, and I guess are people putting up walls higher than they should be, or what's the
Well, I mean, just to kind of add to what you just said, Oscar, um, I don't think walls work. I don't think walls work primarily because what I've discovered with walls is you're keeping yourself isolated more than connecting and understanding the whys of why your bridges aren't working. It's really just about that. Maybe you need a toll system rather than a bridge. Because walls don't work. I really don't think walls work.
well, mine
um
do. Otherwise, my windows will fall out to the street.
but go ahead, Whitney. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I have this theory that I call the pendulum effect, which is like, when someone breaks the total opposite. So if you were with someone who was very assertive and you liked that about them at first, but after a while it's like, oh my gosh, this person's always being assertive and always like causing things to change. It starts to get under your skin. So then when you go dating again, you'll look for someone that's not assertive. And often it's this pendulum effect where we're with someone that's really this way, and then we want to go all the way to the opposite and be with someone really that way. And a pendulum, naturally, without any other force, will fall in the middle. And that's what we want to do, right? So if you have been vulnerable and you've given a lot and you've been hurt, those walls go up and we want to protect ourselves. And yeah, boundaries are like a gate that you monitor and you let some people, some things in, and then others you don't let in. But a wall doesn't let anything or anyone in. But our brains are designed to protect us, right? There's a lot of evolutionary psychology at play in our relationships and dating. And if you've been hurt, your brain just wants to protect you. So it might do things like make you afraid of dating or pull you back into your comfort zone, or you end up repeating the same patterns that are often stemming from our childhood and how we were treated or how our parents' relationship was. And we don't often look at that as a protection, but that's exactly what it is, because your brain and your body just want homeostasis. It just wants the familiar. So even if the past wasn't great, you'll naturally, if you're not consciously setting intentions and pushing things forward in a healthy way, you'll naturally fall back into these old patterns.
Do you think sabotage is a part of that as well? Like
Totally.
sabotage is your protection.
Yes, totally. And there's actually a lot of different ways that we sabotage ourselves. Like being way too picky can be a self sabotage. And that's an interesting one because usually the people that are way too picky are super judgmental of themselves. And they judge themselves and they don't accept themselves and they insist on perfection within themselves. And so then they project that onto everybody else that they date. And it's like, well, if I have to be perfect, then you have to be perfect.
Right.
But there's other patterns too that, um,
But even perfection itself is unachievable.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's almost like an impossible fight you're putting up just looking for that.
yeah. And there's just this movement in dating now where it's like everybody's disposable and we're not treating people as humans. And the bad eggs in the bunch, the bad apples spoil the bunch.
Hmm.
And when you are trying to use online dating and you're open and you're talking and you're flirting, and then somebody is just really mean and rude because they're having a bad day or they're just a mean person, it can cause our walls to go back up and then we miss out on the people that are actually good that are there. So I tell people that dating today is like looking for a needle in a haystack. And when you go online, there's a lot of hay. There's a lot of people. It's like quantity is not a problem usually. It's the quality. And so if you're looking for a needle in a haystack, you can't get distracted by every little piece of hay and be like, oh, this piece
Right.
of hay yelled at me and this piece of hay sent me this picture. And why are people so? It's like we have to have that resilience to just push it aside, move on, let it go, and keep looking for that needle.
Now, this morning you did something that you hadn't done before, which is talk about some past cases, some success stories, and that was some really really fun stories there. Do you want to share some of those again this afternoon?
Sure. Sure. Um, so, well, I can start with one that I didn't share this morning.
Oh, okay.
One of
It's a
my
new one, Phil.
one of my clients just finished my 3-month program, and we worked together individually. And when she started, there was just this drought of available guys, and she would have a lot of guy friends, but then the friendships, they would want more and she didn't, and it just was this pattern where she was always in the friend zone, always buddy buddy, didn't have a lot, and was not finding the relationships. And after going through the program and identifying some of the core limiting beliefs from childhood and recognizing that, she didn't have a great relationship with her mom. She didn't have a great mom. So that caused her to reject females and not have female friends and lean towards guys as friends. And that's one of the 13 damaging dating patterns that I talk about, which is the just buddies. So if you are kind of one of the guys, it doesn't it doesn't help you to find that one. So she's been doing a lot of work and now she's dating 3 people, which is awesome for this stage. Like we want to have a funnel where we meet a lot of people and we give a lot of people a chance and we go on a lot of dates. And, some of those will make it to the next phase, and then some of those will make it to the next phase. And then when you date multiple people in the beginning, before you're in a relationship, right? So there's a difference between just seeing someone, dating them, and being in a committed relationship. And you should wait a bit to be committed and in a relationship. Even if you like someone right away, you might learn things about them along the way that you don't like. Or if you're lukewarm in the beginning, that attraction might grow and you might see them on a deeper level and enjoy them more. So it's a good idea. And this is exactly what she's doing. And I'm so happy for her because she has gone through the program. She's like, I go to the gym now and people never used to pay attention. She said she would go up to a machine and the guy would be like, oh, I was about to use that, but you can use it when I'm done. And now, just because her energy is different, she goes to the machine and the guy goes, oh, no, 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 here you go. You first. Go ahead. And she said she's been getting all this treatment everywhere she goes, where she just gets more attention from guys and more, um, she's just noticed more. So,
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that in sales too. Like, if you ignore someone, they're gonna have a feeling about that. So if you treat people, if your tendency is to treat people as if you don't need them, you're not gonna attract them, right? If I think I don't need you, then my attitude is gonna show that. My with the energy I'm putting out there, the pull, the push and pull is not going to be there, because I think you don't have the value that I'm looking for, right? And
yeah.
that's what I think you're saying in that is, our values show in our attitude. you know i i Oscar and I have a good relationship because every now and then we do maintenance, right? We do a little thing here, we do a little thing there, because we see value in each other, right? I don't want to lose Oscar, and I feel it's vice versa. It's the same thing, I think, with our group that we have. We see When you see value in something, you tend to it. You're like, hey, if I, even if we did something wrong, you go, if I did something,
Tell
tell
me.
me, like, so that we can rectify it. And I think that works better than, and I think that's also a part of the wall thing, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that and you're talking about the energy you put out, and it is so, if you tune into it, you will notice that if you're around a lot of people, you see, the energy of some people, and you're like, they're just delightful from the minute they walk in it. They don't even have to say anything. You could just feel that energy. And then you have people I call energy vampires who walk into the room and just suck the life out of it. And
Hmm.
and if you've had a breakup, and now you're into yourself, and you're in that low
Mm-mm.
energy, that low vibration, that is what's going out. And people are like, "Ooh, yeah, that's, you got to stay away from that."
Got to
But
avoid her,
yeah,
right? Avoid him,
Yeah.
avoid her.
And,
Yeah.
a lot of people go out into the dating space still in that mindset and still hurting and still looking for validation and looking for someone to make them feel whole and complete. And it's just the biggest mistake we can make, because you want you want to go in feeling whole and like
Hmm.
having just love and abundance overflowing around you that you can share with somebody, not like the vampire that's like, I need your love, I need your energy.
It's
yeah. Well,
you,
then what's funny is that we will pick that up on a subconscious level immediately, because it goes back to primitive days, that weak people, would bring the tribe down, and you wouldn't survive because of that weak person. And
Hmm.
if you're putting out that weak vibe, some part of your brain goes, "Ooh, that's going to get us killed." So it's automatic. You just like stay away from that, and that you're not attracted to that person, because you're going to have to drag them along the course, and they become a liability. So walking into a relationship being needy, it's going to be picked up by the subconscious, like, yeah, no, I don't want this guy in my tribe. This is not
Yeah.
a
And neediness is an interesting thing because we all have needs. And I think that some people don't even feel like they can express their needs and desires, and they're worried about being needy. But when we say need, like, needs your validation and needs the reassurance constantly and does it to a point that's not healthy. But really, like, it's okay to have needs and it's okay to have opinions and requests. And, I teach about feminine embodiment and feminine energy. And I think there's a common misconception that being feminine means that you follow and you just agree with everything and just smile. And, those are kind of feminine traits, but it has to be authentic. It has to be real and balanced. And, you're not going to be following someone 100% of the time, no matter what. So it's important to find our own energy, right? Because some people are kind of over the top energetic naturally, and then some people are putting on a show and like pretending, and then they go home exhausted because they've been this other
Playing a
version of
role.
themselves, mask playing a role. Yeah. So,
But that is like evident. Okay, so I get a chance to go to the city now, and I get the chance to really do what I love to do, which is people watch, right, and absorb kind of like what's going on. I look at situations around me, how people communicate with each other, and the one of the commonalities of what I'm seeing is the need for connection. I remember seeing this gentleman who walked through the store. He was walking from one end to the other, and literally, I mean, handsome looking Asian guy. And this girl literally was throwing herself over to get his attention, right? And I'm thinking, this guy, based on what I read about this, I mean, from him as a person, that would not be what he's looking for. He's not looking for somebody to fall over him and be all that. I think what I got from his persona was, he's looking for somebody to match him, not be like, oh my God, you're so awesome.
yeah.
You
But
know,
he was but he was attracting without probably didn't say a word. He didn't talk to her, didn't look at her. It's just that, like what Whitney said, that your vibration is at that level. It's like people notice.
but it
Yeah.
pushes it. What I'm saying is, what she was putting out was literally pushing away what she wanted.
Yeah. And
How,
that's
how
like,
do you
She was
yeah,
doing the needy.
how
She
do
was
you get
doing
to
the
change
needy
that?
vibration.
Yeah, how do you change that? How do you like go from that, the empty insecure thing, and kind of like, what are your steps for that? I know you have a program.
it's all in the program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all in the
It's
program.
all in the program.
What do you
It's
suggest
really,
for that?
um, there's a level of heart healing that we all need to go through because we've all been hurt before and we're on high alert about getting hurt again. And so that's what creates our coping mechanisms, whether it's clinging to someone too quickly or pushing someone away when they get intimate, which are opposites, but people have, their own coping mechanisms. So, but I wanted to talk also about, the girl approaching the guy. There is a way to do that. And we need to recognize that in this modern age, in this year, after the Me Too movement, guys are not as likely to just come up and be like, wow, you're so beautiful. I want to take you out, because they don't want to be creepy, especially the good guys. So, what a woman can do is, what I don't recommend is what you said, like, oh my God, you're so amazing. We should hang out. We should go out. Like, wow, that's not going to work. And when you understand masculine and feminine energies, you get that there's a reason that usually it's the guy that asks you out and plans the date and pays for things. Like, if if you want to feel like a girl, if you want to be in your natural feminine and you want a masculine guy, then you don't want to be taking the lead and pushing and asking him out. But you also don't want to miss out on that opportunity. So, what I recommend is you give him some green light, right? You give him a go signal, because a guy doesn't want to hit on you if he thinks that you're going to reject him and call him a jerk or slap him across the face. So, instead, if you just look at a guy, and you're men, you can confirm or deny this, but if a girl looks at you, smiles, waves, and that's it, if you're interested, you'll go talk to her. You'll go ask her out. So I think that girls nowadays, as much as we're independent and empowered and we can do whatever we need to do in our careers, a lot of women are trying to like take control of the relationship, and then they don't understand why the guy they're with won't take control of anything. And it's like, well, because you're in that role and
Right.
he's not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you
If
want to
you
go,
if you're taking control of everything, why do I need to step up for anything?
yeah. So sometimes these strong, independent women, there's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome. And I'm all about people being empowered, but just understanding what we were not taught about relationships, about men, about this masculine feminine polarity. You could just get so much further. People that say, well, I just haven't liked time. I just don't ever feel chemistry. I just don't feel attraction. You know, especially as we get older, like not everyone is as hot as they used to be. And the pool is just like average people. And it's like,
When
there's so much
when
more to a person than just their physical appearance. Like,
mhm. But
yeah.
because it may be the beginning of something, but it's never the longevity of it is like the longevity of it is just kind of crazy, right? I mean, physical attraction may last for a moment, but as you get closer, you want something deeper, right? You want something that's going to add value and perspective and even motivation, right? Like when you're doing something, you want someone that's got your back, kind of a thing, and have your support and you support. And all of this is like it builds up, and then I think the disappointment is not getting that when you reach to the point of beyond physical, right? Is that where the disappointment kind of hits in, you know?
So you're actually making me think about that there's three phases to relationships. And the first phase is called limerence. And
Mhm.
limerence is like that puppy love, that honeymoon phase. Like you're excited, you're getting to know the person. And then around like 6 months to a couple years, things change. And all of a sudden, you're having more conflict and you're working out whether you can be together, you know, speaking up for what you need. And a lot of people nowadays just don't have the tenacity and understanding to stick through that phase. And they start fighting. They don't know how to they don't know how to communicate, so they just fight. And it's not necessary. Like we don't have to fight. And there are ways to communicate what we need. And then either the person steps up and can meet your needs or they don't and you leave. But there's no reason to like stick around forever just miserable and fighting. So limerence is the first stage, and that's what everybody thinks of as love. Like in all the movies, it's like, oh my God, and they finally get together and they're excited. And they don't show a lot of what happens after the limerence phase.
Right,
Because there's
right,
so
right,
many
right,
chemicals, the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, like we're on drugs when we're infatuated and in love and have a crush. And that will fade as much as you're attracted to somebody, that will fade. And then it becomes
right.
a more comfortable kind
Mhm.
of love. So then you go through that phase of conflict and working things out and seeing how you can actually be together. And then if you make it through that phase with a partner, then you end up in the lasting love
Mhm.
where it's, you know, maybe not as chemically high
Driven.
inducing, but it's
Right.
still really pleasant and enjoyable.
Well, because if you're looking for longevity, you gotta it's paced out. All that energy and all you can do that for a period, but then life comes in. Okay, the light bill is here. What are we going to do about that? Or the mortgage got to get paid. Or you start talking about these integrated life things like I didn't know your credit score was 300. How did it get there? And what is your ex? How many ex-wives have you had? Oh, three or four. Okay,
I'm starting to see what's going on here.
yeah, all of these elements start taking a deeper picture, and you found yourself in a wheelhouse. So I heard Creflo Dollar. There was a short video that I was listening to this evangelical preacher. Um, this is way back in the day. He came up with a short video, and he's like, "What do you need to know?" Right? The things you need to know before you commit. Like, what's your credit score? Do you take showers? Like, are
Often.
you committed to perfume and cologne?
Yeah. And, you know, I think another, like, mistake that a lot of people are making is they're having those conversations on the first or second date, and they're just trying to rule people out, and they're, like, going
Mhm.
for the jugular too soon, and it's better to take your time. I mean, some of those questions, yeah, like, you
Yeah,
ask them
no,
early
that's
on,
true.
and
Yeah, I mean, some of them
but
is not
but
even
don't,
questions. Some of it is just observe. Don't say. You don't have to say anything. Just
yeah.
take the time to observe, right?
Yeah, and
You
give
know,
people a chance. Go on a few dates. If you're not sure, just keep seeing them and
mhm,
get to know them, and
exactly.
eventually you will be pulled in one way or the other that, "Oh, they are really great," or, "Oh, man, this is not gonna work." But
Right.
I think people are, yeah, they're just, I mean, I hear it all the time. They match on the dating app, they plan a
Hmm.
date, and then one person just unmatches and disappears and ghosts and doesn't like, it's crazy that people can't just treat people like people. So, yeah, it's tough out there, but there's definitely a right way to do it, and that's what I'm happy to be able to teach people, not only in dating, but like, how do I build a relationship that's going to last? How can I go into this knowing that this limerence phase is going to end at some point? And the truth is, most people never learn this stuff.
That's true. That's true. I think it's more like I think what you're doing is an awesome, is an awesome thing, primarily because people don't take the time to examine themselves. Uh, they do, because there are things in us that we don't want to face, and some of us go deeper than others, right? Some of us go deeper than others in the self examination. One of the things I discovered after my divorce was that there was a lot of things I contributed to the relationship that was toxic. And until I had discovered some of those things, I would have kept doing the same thing, even now, right? But because of the awareness, it helps me in my current relationship. And I think that's what most people need to understand is you got to if you know you've gone through some stuff that's altering and causing your relationships to turn out negatively, you have to do that work. That person can't do the work for you. In fact, nobody else, and I think that's what you go through. That's why it's your ninth step, because nobody can do that work for you. You have to kind of say to yourself, I need to get through this and identify, even just identifying it is the biggest first step, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Most people, some people are really down on themselves and they're like, it's me. I'm not dateable. I'm ugly. Nobody likes me. But that's a minority, a small minority. Most people are out there like thinking they're wonderful and that everybody else sucks. And it's like, you can't just order like on Amazon, like, I want 6 feet tall and six pack abs and six figures, and I want this and I want that. And it's like, that's a person that has to also like you. And so,
Mhm.
everyone wants to date up, and it's like, we have
But
to realize that, like, your partner doesn't have to be perfect, they just have to be
they just
right
have to
for
fit.
you.
Yeah, exactly. They just have to fit. Is not there's no I would say this. I don't think there's any perfect person. It's really about Oscar.
Let's ask his wife.
I think so.
Exactly.
Well, I have to go now.
you know, but it's really what you're willing to put into it, and really just accept. Like everybody has something they're working on, even you. So give give people the break that you're looking for. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. But it's like we need to find the sweet spot, the balance where we're
Mhm.
not forgiving too much and brushing things under the rug and ignoring red flags, but we're also not nitpicking every little thing and like creating red flags out of nothing.
Nothing.
So it's
Yeah.
like this middle zone where we're conscious and present and we know what we want. We know where we're headed and what our intention is in our own love life. And then we just have to see who meets that. Right? I tell people when we create the love intention, it's more about the relationship they want, not the person. Because you
Mhm.
don't want to get too hung up on the specific person or the type of person, or, he has to be this tall, he has to be from this place. Like, there's so many variety of people out there that could be a match. And that's something I learned in matchmaking too, that, sometimes these couples that don't seem to have a lot in common on the surface actually can have really deep, amazing, loving relationships. And a lot of those people, if they hadn't been set up by a matchmaker, they probably would have never even picked each other.
Right, right. That is so key. I got my last question, and then I'll let Oscar have at it. But does, in your opinion, does longevity define a successful relationship?
No. No, I don't think so. Because I think we all know couples that have been married probably a decade longer than they should have, and they're just staying together because they're so afraid to leave and because of the commitment. And it is honorable to try to stay in your marriage, to make it work, to do the growth that it requires. But there are circumstances where sometimes it's just not possible. And so I think to judge a relationship only on longevity, it could be an unhappy relationship that lasts a long time, or
Good.
you could have a really amazing relationship that gets cut short. So,
Mhm. That's true. Exactly. I'll tell you a short story. I met someone, and he was married. He is married for 53 years. His wife lives in Italy, and he lives in New York.
That makes for a long marriage.
And they've been doing that for 20 years.
wow. To each
So
their own. I mean, if they're happy,
I'm just
I
saying,
wouldn't be able to do that.
20 years, been married 53 years, right?
Yeah,
I
right?
mean,
So is that the epitome of
that's why I
success?
asked that question. Go ahead, Oscar.
Yeah, like we've been married 39 years, or yeah, 39 years, and my wife says 10 long happy years of of marriage. So, yeah, what again, it goes back to you'll be able to see things in people that they don't see in themselves. So that's why it's important for people like, oh, I'm having trouble dating. But like, step back, have someone else, read through that book and edit edit the content in there to make sure it'll be a bestseller. To keep in that thread. Um,
Yeah.
but again, I love hearing from you, and every time you come on, you bring out something new. Like, aha, now and you've been filled with the longevity. Like, wow, way to think this through. Is long is good, is not.
It can be, right?
Cool. All right, so I think we are done for today.
All right. Whitney, is there any last words you'd like to say to the audience before we end the program?
She's
Just
stuck.
that if you're struggling, so many people are, reach out. On my website, you can book a strategy call with me. It's complimentary, it's free. For now, at least, I might get too bogged down with these and stop doing them. So if you want to do it now. WhitneyKobrin.com. You can also download my free guide, How to Get More in Real Life Dates from Dating Apps. And yeah, I'm just on a mission to help as many people as I can. I'm on a mission to help create more loving, healthy relationships and more strong, confident women that feel happy and fulfilled in their life and in their love life.
Awesome.
Cool.
Just one before, yeah, I just remembered I had your website pulled up,
Yeah,
and I
thank
did
you.
not even go through it. But there's one couple of things I wanted to touch was the testimonials. I see one here. It says, "Men now compliment me on my presence, my elegance, my grace, my radiance. But the greatest gift I got from this program is feeling joy."
So the really great thing, I talked about Maya this morning in our presentation.
Mhm.
She dated for a couple of years since we worked together a couple years ago, and she dated a lot of people, met a lot of people, was starting to feel a little frustrated. She wasn't meeting the guy she wanted, and now she met him, and he proposed, and they're engaged,
Wow.
and I'm planning
Ah,
to go to their wedding in November.
that is
So,
great. That is so powerful. Wow.
yeah,
What about
so
let's go. What about this one? She says, "I'm so much happier now. I was finally able to relax, live in peace, and let go of my excess negativity, stress, and anxiety. Men treat me so differently when I relax into my feminine energy.
Yeah, so this is somebody who is very type A, can be a little bit aggressive in their communication, like kind of forceful. And she had been in relationships before where she was the boss and decided that she didn't want that anymore. So with her, we worked a lot on the feminine embodiment, the relaxation, the communication skills, and dating just became a totally different experience for her.
Oh, that is, that shows the effectiveness of which how you working with these women have really changed their lives for the positive, right?
Yeah.
So
And
this is the
then
last one I saw, but I think Lauren is takes the cake on this. Amazing testimonial. She says, I've seen major growth in myself, awareness, and relationships. I was feeling stuck and unfulfilled, hoping things would get better, working hard to prove myself and make him happy. Now I take responsibility for my own happiness.
yeah. So Lauren was actually going through separation and ended up getting divorced, but she had been giving and giving and giving and trying and trying and trying, and her partner wasn't meeting her where she was at. And so finally she was able to move on and yeah, really find herself and her peace throughout that process. And they were able to split amicably and all of that. So
Oh,
lots
that's
of different phases of the love life that I have helped people through, but the end goal is really just to be happy, whether that's by yourself or with a partner, but really that's what we're all after, I think.
really do. So again, this is to everyone. Reach out to Whitney Kobrin. Visit her website, whitneykobrin.com, for more information. As you can hear, as you can see, she is really good at what she does. So no matter what stage of relationship you're in, you can get some assistance from her. Thanks again, Whitney, for coming on. Really enjoyed this program. I think it was greatly appreciated. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time on Focus on You. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Oscar.